Hello everyone. This story is about, what if Naruto saves Yugito and start traveling together? They meet many people and fight many enemies. Relying on each other they fall in love. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Let's start. We need to get you a dress, said Fu excitedly while pulling Yugito towards the clothing district of the village. Just you wait Yugito, you're going to knock Naruto out dead when I'm done with you. Yugito sighed with a faint blush on her cheeks. Seriously, it's not like that, she responded while being dragged by Fu. Fu rolled her eyes, put a sock in it Yugito, when it happens, you'll be thanking me. Fu eventually found the store she was looking for. It had an entire array of many different styles of shinobi wear. Yugito looked around confused. I thought you said we were looking for a dress. Fu nodded her head. We are, these are shinobi dresses, she replied happily as she began looking through all the racks of clothing. After a few hours of searching and a few dozen dresses later, Yugito finally found one she really liked as she stepped out of the dressing room. And, okay, so basically the dress is the same type of thing the current Mizukage is wearing. Now for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what to call it, so yeah, my bad. It was a dark violet color, with black netting and a dark blue belt. There were no extravagant designs like some of the other dresses in the store, but the simplicity of it enhanced Yugito's beauty by a long shot. Well, Yugito, that one's perfect for you. I was just joking before, but I think you really are going to knock him out, said Fu giggling. Yugito, however, decided to just ignore Fu for the moment and examine herself in the mirror. A small smile graced her face, she did look nice in it. Back in the cloud, she never had the chance to do these types of things, hanging out with another girl, shopping, looking for a dress to impress a bono. That's not what I'm doing. Fu watched as Yugito looked herself over and developed a faint pink tinge. Thinking of the reactions you're going to get him? Yugito turned and glared at her. I am not thinking about him. Fu smirked heavily, and she takes the bait. What are you talking about? I said reactions, it's a festival, there's going to be a ton of people that will gawk over you. Geez, I didn't know your mind revolved around one person so much. I wonder who it could be to have you acting like this. He must be pretty special. Hook, line, and sinker. Yugito's face turned redder from both embarrassment and anger. She kept on falling for Fu's constant mind games that mysteriously always involved Naruto. It was making her think of her blonde comrade more than normal, and the thought of him possibly taking an interest in her didn't seem that bad at all. Maybe this will turn out just right, she thought. As she gave herself one last glance at the mirror, smiling. Little did she know that tomorrow night would be very far from right. The evening of the festival came around the next day, and Naruto found himself getting dressed in the outfit Shibuki had brought him. It consisted of a black long-sleeved top that's cuffs and edges had blue flames imprinted. It also formed a small V-neck where it was folded, exposing some of his mesh shirt underneath with the Shodai's necklace proudly in view. The pants were similar to his orange ones other than being black and also having blue flames imprinted on the ankles. Naruto put on his black sandals and wrapped his kunai holster around his leg, then went into the bathroom to see how he looked. Without his head protector his hair hung lower, since it hadn't been cut in a while, he was starting to look more like the fourth. Examining the rest of his new look, he realized it wasn't that bad, a bit different from his usual colors, but it was a nice change. After brushing his teeth, Naruto glanced at the clock. It was 4:15. He was supposed to meet up with Yugito, Fu, and Shibuki in 15 minutes, so he left his temporary home and made his way towards the meeting spot. When he arrived, he noticed he was the first to arrive. After a few minutes, Shibuki was the next to arrive. Hey Naruto, he greeted walking up to the blonde. Hey. Now we just need the girls to get here, replied Naruto as Shibuki joined him. Looks like they are already here, said Shibuki pointing behind Naruto. Naruto turned around spotting them and instantly started waving, then a second later his mind finally registered something different. More specifically, something different with Yugito. The moment he noticed her and what she was wearing his jaw dropped. Sure he knew she was pretty, but apparently she hid a lot of it with her past tomboyish clothing. But now. He realized pretty was a major understatement. This girl walking in front of him was a goddess in his mind. Yugito makes Sakura-chan look ugly. Yugito could be compared to a tomato at the moment. She was hoping to get a reaction out of him, but she didn't expect for him to be this shocked by her. Is it because I look weird? I've never worn anything like this before. Shibuki was the first to speak. Glad you two lovely ladies could join us, he said as he put his arm around Fu and gave her a quick peck on the cheek. Naruto then realized he was still spacing out over Yugito. Say something, he screamed in his head. Why you, look amazing Yugito, he stuttered out. Great, I'm turning into Hinata now. Yugito was starting to doubt this was such a good idea when Naruto wasn't saying anything, but that thought instantly vanished after his comment, which caused her to blush harder. Thank you, she too stuttered as she looked at the ground nervously as she cursed her lack of experience with these types of things. Fu was smirking as she watched the interaction. The obvious nervousness between them was both funny and cute. Shibuki decided to help the two out. Well, why don't we get going? Don't want to miss out on anything now, he said as the other three nodded, and they all proceeded into the heart of the festival. They walked around talking for a while, checking out everything that was going on. They had everything a normal festival had, including all kinds of food, games, music, but also some unique things too. Such as various ninja-related competitions, and even a few sparring areas where a good deal of people were gathered to watch some fights and occasionally betting. All in all, everything was indeed oriented around shinobi. Fu then started pulling Shibuki off somewhere. Shibuki-kun has something that he needs to do. Have fun you too, she shouted back at Yugito and Naruto as she and her fiancé disappeared into the crowd. You're right. She's just trying to get something to happen between us, thought Yugito as she watched the retreating back of her female friend. Then the present dawned on her. We're alone now, is this considered like a D-date? Naruto was having similar thoughts. Oh shit, this just became a date when those two left, right? He then glanced over at Yugito and quickly back. Nah, there's no way, she's so hot. She could have any guy she wanted. If I couldn't even get Sakura-chan to like me, there's no way Yugito could ever like me that way. Well, I gotta do something, he thought, looking back again at Yugito. Hey, do you want to, play any of the games here? He asked her. She looked at him and nodded nervously. Let's go then, he said in his usual happy tone, to try to ease the mood a bit. He noticed how nervous she was, probably embarrassed to be with me right now. Traveling and training is one thing, alone together being dressed up at a festival is totally different. Soon they came across a kunai throwing game. From the looks of it, it didn't seem difficult at all, an academy exercise if anything. Naruto and Yugito walked up to the booth. So all we gotta do here is hit that target with a kunai? Questioned Naruto, pointing at the target in the distance. The man running the shop answered, yup, but it has to stay. If you don't throw it hard enough you won't be getting one in that target. Yugito noticed that there wasn't anyone else attempting this one and wondered why, since it seemed simple enough. She could only think of one reason and leaned over to Naruto. I think this one might be rigged somehow. Everyone else is staying away, she warned. Don't worry. I'll get it, he boasted and paid the fee while the owner smirked. Naruto threw one kunai and it hit dead center but bounced right off the target, making the owner smirk more and Yugito frown. Whatever that target is made of, it sure is hard. Good thing I know how to get around that, he thought as he took out a second kunai and focused a little bit of wind chakra into the blade and threw it. The owner continued smirking until the kunai hit, or more accurately went straight through the rock dead center. The owner's jaw was hanging while Naruto was smiling triumphantly. Yugito smiled. That's probably one of the only ways to win here. This guy probably never expected someone with a wind affinity to be wandering around here. Naruto then began to look through the prizes he could choose from and his eyes immediately found the perfect item, a black, green-eyed Nakomata plushie. Naruto instantly asked for it, and once the owner reluctantly handed it to him, Naruto turned around and handed it to Yugito. I think you'll like this one. I couldn't resist, hee, said Naruto, smiling, causing Yugito to blush from both the thoughtful item and his cute smile. See, cute? Damn it, okay, maybe I am starting to like him. Just a little, she thought as she took the plushie. Thank you, Naruto, she said, giving him a smile in return, causing now him to blush. They continued walking around enjoying themselves until Yugito caught sight of a hand seal competition. They approached the group of people running it and asked about it. So you're interested in the competition? Luckily for you we got one spot left, it's yours if you want it, informed one of the men. Yeah, I'll compete, replied Yugito. Alright then, just give me your hand and I'll put the seal on you, said the man as Yugito complied. He then opened a scroll and did a few hand seals. Afterwards a seal appeared on Yugito's hand. Now just head over to booth number 34 and we'll get started. Yugito and Naruto then went over to the assigned booth where Yugito stepped up to the plate and put the Nakomata plushie in a sealing scroll. Naruto stood behind her as there were quite a few people watching this one. 34 competitors all stood facing a large screen. They then noticed a man walk right underneath it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the adult hand seal competition. These 34 contestants will race through the hand seals displayed on this screen here. Once all 150 hand seals have been completed, the seals placed on the contestant's hands will morph into a number according to what place he or she has ranked. First place gets a $200 gift certificate to be used anywhere in the festival, informed the man. Good luck, Yugito, cheered Naruto from behind her. I got this, no problem, she replied with a smile. Contestants, get ready, shouted the man. The competition will start and the hand seals will be shown right after the countdown on the screen. All the contestants readied themselves and the screen flashed 5 and began to count down. Right after the screen flashed 1, the long list of the hand seal order was shown and all the contestants started blazing through them while the crowd cheered. Naruto watched Yugito. He wanted to cheer her on, but this required not only speed but concentration, and he didn't want to cause her to slip. He noted that this wasn't going to last long, but the suspense made it seem a lot longer. Suddenly, after 15 seconds, one of the contestants started cheering and the crowd looked at him. Naruto's heart sank a little thinking Yugito didn't win, but immediately after the cheer the guy started yelling curses. As it turned out, in his speed, he must have misread some of the seals. Right after the cheers died at 19 seconds, the seal on Yugito's hand changed to the number 1 and instantly, to Naruto's great shock as well as her own, turned around and gave Naruto a bone-crushing hug yelling she won. After a couple moments, Yugito's eyes shot open wide realizing what she was doing and jumped back as her face heated up. Naruto, noticing what she did, knew he had to say something before it got awkward. That was awesome, Yugito. Your hands were a complete blur to me. This only seemed to make her redder. Damn, I can't stop it. Congratulations, ma'am. Here's your certificate, said the man who was running the event as he handed Yugito her reward. Yugito thanked the man and looked down at the card, then back up to Naruto. Want to go have dinner? She asked. Sure, what she would get, he pondered. Then suddenly they both turned towards each other, uttering one word simultaneously: ramen. They found a ramen bar and nearly spent all of Yugito's winnings between themselves. It was now dark out, and just as they were told, the moon was very bright. As they were leaving, they ran into Fu. Hey, you two, enjoying yourselves? Asked Fu as she winked at Yugito. Yeah, we are. This festival is a lot cooler than any of the ones I've seen before, replied Naruto. Yugito noticed something missing. Where's Shibuki? She asked. That's who I'm looking for. He was called to his office for something a while back, but hasn't returned. I'm just heading there to check on him, said Fu. By the way, you two should head down to the lake, she said, giggling. How, why? Asked Naruto, confused. Oh, you'll see, she replied, still giggling as she took off towards Shibuki's office. Well, I guess we should go to the lake then, huh? Asked Naruto, looking over at Yugito. Sure, she replied, but she had a feeling something was up, and it wasn't the obvious way Fu mentioned the lake. As they came into view of the lake, they both became shocked. The lake was very picturesque, the way the bright moonlight was reflecting off the lake surface. There was also soft music being played over the entire portion of the lake in front of them. But these things weren't what really caught their attention. On top of the lake, people were dancing. Not just normal people. They were obviously shinobi in order to be able to do this, but they were all couples. The atmosphere made the two jinchuriki get extremely nervous. Damn that Fu. It's beautiful, but Naruto wouldn't ask me to dance. Hell, I don't even know how to dance. Yugito screamed in her head as she began to hyperventilate. Oh fuck, what should I do? What should I do? There's no way I can ask her to dance right. I mean, I already established that she's out of my league, but Ero-sennin said to live without regrets, right? I would probably regret not doing this. Maybe she would want to. I mean, she hasn't pulled me out of here yet. He glanced at her, and she seemed to be thinking as well. This silence is so awkward. Here goes nothing. Why, Yugito? Stuttered Naruto as he mentally berated himself for pulling another Hinata. Why, yes, she replied, also stuttering. Is he really going to ask me? Would why you like to dance? He asked, hoping to God that he didn't just mess up. Yugito's eyes widened. Why, yes. Yes, I would, she replied. She said yes. Naruto was doing flips in his mind, much to the annoyance of Kyubi. Come on, let's go, he said as he grabbed Yugito's hand and led them towards the water. As they reached the area where the other couples were dancing, Naruto thought of something. Wait, I don't know how to dance. Starting to panic again, he noticed that it was just slow dancing. Thank God. They both came to a stop and faced each other, blushing as Naruto slowly rested his hands on her waist while she locked her arms around his neck equally as slowly. They then slowly started swaying around the lake, both being very careful to not step on the other's feet. A few weeks ago, I never would have imagined myself doing something like this, said Yugito quietly as they moved around the lake. You haven't danced with a guy before? Questioned Naruto, who wouldn't want to dance with her. And no, men in the cloud just wanted me so they can brag about having the demon bitch as their own. Hearing her say that, Naruto instinctively pulled her closer, causing her face to flush for the millionth time that day. I don't want to hear that again, you're far from that name. In fact, you're one of the most beautiful girls I know, Yugito. Yugito's head quickly shot up at hearing this, and saw that he had a genuine smile on his face and his eyes were telling the truth. Small tears started to form at the corners of her eyes as a smile formed on her face, and she rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat quickening. Thank you, she whispered. Just then fireworks started going off, lighting up the sky in all kinds of gorgeous colors. Everyone stared in awe at the beauty as some of the projectiles turned into animals in the sky. Yugito thought this scene couldn't be more perfect. This is so nice. Thank you so much, Naruto-kun, she said in her head as she kept her head on his chest as they enjoyed the moment. However, nobody noticed the object flying around in the sky hidden by the bright colors. Finally, some people who appreciate my art, yeah. Hey Yugito. Naruto whispered to the goddess pressed against his chest, causing her to look up. Deidara kept circling overhead. Well, there's the Kyubi and Nibi, Sasori-senpai probably will be finishing up soon with the third one. I'll start off with C1, yeah. He then created 2 homing birds and launched them towards the 2 jinchuriki. What is it, Naruto-kun? Asked Yugito, not realizing she just added kun to Naruto's name. Naruto blushed, but started slowly. I think T.il, dash, he started stuttering out when he felt something off and both of their eyes widened, immediately jumping away. Katsu. The area they were just standing in exploded. They both just barely caught sight of the 2 objects that flew down upon them. The explosion caught everyone's attention. Just then a large explosion went off at the base of the large tree. The resident waterfall ninjas who were taking part in the festival immediately headed towards the tree since it was a sacred place to them and inside held many of the village's secrets. Looks like they escaped that one, yeah, said Deidara to himself, looking down at the 2 jinchuriki. I'll lead them towards the village more. It'll be harder for them to detect my art that way, yeah. He then started to fly towards the village center, slowly making sure the 2 followed. Naruto. Up there, shouted Yugito, pointing at the bird flying towards the village, with what appeared to be a man on its back. Naruto looked up at where she was pointing. Shit, it's Akatsuki. He's flying towards the village. Is he going to try to involve the village in this? He shouted in his head. Yugito, come on. We gotta stop him, he said as Yugito nodded and both took off towards the Akatsuki member. Why did these bastards have to show up? Can't they just leave us be? Yugito was screaming in her head. Truthfully, she was terrified at the moment. The last encounter was still very visible in her mind, but now she had a taste of a somewhat normal life and had made friends. I don't want to lose this. Naruto noticed Yugito seemed very pensive. Yugito, it'll be alright. We knew that we have to deal with these guys sooner or later, but I promise you, I won't let anything happen to either of us. Some of Yugito's fear was removed, but this was real. I hope you're right. They both arrived in the center of the village where Deidara started circling above. Shit, this really isn't good, if he can attack us from up there. Me and Yugito are both close-range types, thought Naruto as he realized they were at a huge disadvantage. He noticed that there were still a few civilians around that ran inside their homes. Everyone here is at a huge risk. Curse this bastard. Good, they're here, let's see how they deal with these, yeah, thought Deidara as he held a bunch of various C1 insects in his hand and threw them down onto the jinchuriki. Damn, all those explode too, thought Yugito. Naruto held out his hands as a gust of wind shot out and detonated some of the explosives, causing a chain reaction. Nice one, Naruto, thought Yugito. Wind type A? He seems pretty good with it too, in order for him to use it like that. If he can control the wind, then direct attacks won't be able to reach him through the air, yeah, thought Deidara, eating some clay with his hands. I'll just have to trap them, yeah. He then threw another assortment of explosives. Some centipedes that buried themselves in the ground, as well as some squirrels and cats that scattered around the village. Catching on to what he was doing, Naruto shouted over to Yugito, Yugito. Make shadow clones so he can't determine the real us. He then made shadow clones of himself and scattered them. Yugito, also seeing this, nodded and made her own platoon of clones. Heh, even if they do that, they can't avoid my art forever. They still can't hit me up here, yeah, thought Deidara, creating more homing birds. Throughout the village, constant explosions and shadow clones being dispelled could be heard as Deidara ate away at their numbers. This may take a while, yeah, Sasori will definitely be mad, he joked, smirking at the thought. The real Naruto grabbed one of Yugito's clones and yanked it into a building. We need to come up with a counter, if this goes on we'll definitely lose, he told it. The clone nodded, do you have any ideas? Yeah, it'll be risky, but it's our only option, said Naruto, as he began to inform Yugito of the plan. Once he was done, the clone dispelled so the real Yugito would be informed. Deidara continued to circle around, there's about half of them left, these two aren't too impressive, he said to himself as he continued to assault the duo with explosives. Still, that Kyuubi kid did manage to take down Hyden and Kakuzu, yeah. Deidara then noticed from above that the majority of the clones were focused near the center of the village again. That's not very smart in this situation, yeah, he thought as he turned the bird around with some more homing birds ready. The real Naruto and Yugito saw him approaching, he was taking the bait. They were currently hidden on a roof in the path of Deidara. Right as he passed overhead, Yugito went through some hand seals for Kitten, Karyu Enden, and Naruto used his futon. Kaze Bakuha, resulting in an enormous wave of fire that shot out towards Deidara right after he launched his birds. Shit, thought Deidara as he saw what just transpired behind him, he quickly pulled up and managed to avoid the flame. That was a close one, Yidam, he noticed another Naruto right in front of him on a roof, just as he threw a raisin shuriken at him. The bird quickly barrel rolled out of the way and pulled up higher into the sky. Fuck. Naruto yelled in his head, he was just about completely out of chakra now after that. Damn it. We almost had him. Yugito thought, also knowing that Naruto would be out of it now. Deidara sighed, that was way too close, yeah, he looked down using his binocular to get a better look at his targets and noticed the Kyuubi jinchuriki breathing heavily. Must have used up all his chakra after, yeah. Looks like this is your limit, Kyuubi, shouted Deidara down at Naruto, who was looking up at him angrily, but didn't know that Deidara's thoughts just got interrupted by someone. Shit, was I really here that long? He muttered, then looked down at the jinchuriki. Consider yourselves lucky, I got another matter to attend to, but I'll give you guys a going away present, yeah. Since this village was so appreciative of my art, I'll introduce them to my C3, yeah, he then held out a single odd-looking explosive. Behold the true beauty of my art, he shouted, dropping the object as it transformed into the size of a small house. Is that thing going to explode? Said Yugito to herself as Naruto jumped down in front of her looking completely exhausted. Naruto, she shouted as he collapsed from exhaustion. I have to get us out of here, or we're dead. She then did the only thing she could think of, which is draw on Nibi's power. Having good control over her Biju, she darted off away from the incoming blast site, carrying the unconscious Naruto. You won't get away that easily. Now you can see that my art is a blast. Katsu, yelled Deidara as the bomb detonated right above the village. The ground shook as the blast grew and quickly was gaining on Yugito. Just as the blast reached them, she reached the cave they entered the village from and quickly jumped in, falling down with Naruto just missing the blast. They plunged through the pond of water on the floor as the blast above destroyed the exit. Yugito, recovering from the fall, quickly grabbed Naruto and brought him to the surface of the water and over to the edge of the pond. Checking him, she made sure he was still fine. Just unconscious, thank God. I don't know what I'd do if I lost you, Naruto, she said as she clung to his body. She then noticed the no longer existing exit above them. If the blast reached that far, then the village. Realizing what must have happened, she started crying. Why did this happen? After a few minutes, Naruto started to stir. As his eyes opened, he noticed wherever he was it was very dark. He then began to sit up. Naruto, shouted who he realized was Yugito, as she quickly gave him a firm embrace, being glad that he was okay. It's alright, I'm okay, see, he said, wrapping an arm around Yugito to comfort her. Where are we? What happened to that Akatsuki? He questioned, looking around hoping to recognize something in the dark room. She slowly pulled away. He. I think, she tried to stutter out but failed miserably. Naruto looked at her questioningly, since she's never stuttered like this. What is it? He what? I think he destroyed the village, Naruto, she said, finally getting it out. What? Shouted Naruto, shocked. How could that guy destroy the entire village? What about their shinobi? After you tried to hit him with your raisin shuriken, you passed out. Then he said something about having to leave and then created another bomb, but one big enough that it destroyed the village, I think, she informed. But what about the other shinobi? What about Shibuki and Fu? Where are we? He continued questioning. We are in the cave we went through to reach the village. That's how far that guy's blast went. It destroyed the exit above us, she replied, pointing up as Naruto's eyes widened, realizing what size of a blast it would have taken to do that. As for Shibuki and Fu, I don't know, said Yugito sadly. From what they knew, Akatsuki moved in pairs of two, they only saw one guy, so his partner had to have been close by. Or why, you don't think? Naruto slammed his fists into the ground, damn it. Of course. Remember Fu said Shibuki left and never came back for a long time? I make you a bet that it was that Akatsuki's partner's doing to lure Fu into a trap. Yugito looked down sadly. If that's true, and they got her, then we have no way of tracking her down, neither of us are tracking types and we have no clue what direction they could be heading in. Why does this always have to happen? I hate them. Even if we could track them, I don't think we could do anything to them either, said Naruto, frustrated, truly hating something for the first time in his life. Yugito looked up at the exit. With that blocked off, we have no way of getting back into the village. It would only be a fool's hope that the village isn't razed to the ground right now, she thought as she then turned to Naruto. We need to get out of here, Naruto. They most likely know where we are and will send more after us if we linger here much longer. I know. I just wish there was something that we could do, he said, slowly getting up onto his feet. Our only option now is to run. We can then train more, and that way we can avenge Fu, replied Yugito, also getting up. Naruto shook his head. No, I refuse to act on vengeance. I've seen it firsthand how it can destroy someone. Yugito looked at him confused. Then what? We keep running from them for the rest of our lives? I'm not going to lie, Yugito, I hate them so much right now. I want to get stronger and kill them. But not out of revenge. Revenge won't bring her back, I'll do it to stop it from happening again. To protect those most precious to me. I'll do it to protect you, Yugito, he said, managing to give her a heartwarming smile. Yugito instantly blushed at his declaration and was thankful that the cave was too dark for him to tell. However, somehow in light of the situation, he once again seemed to get a rise out of her spirit. I'll get stronger for the same reason, and then that way we can protect each other. He continued, holding his smile as he listened to her, and then nodded. I like the sound of that. Now let's get out of here, shall we? He said as they both dived into the pond and swam through the passage to the other side. A few hours later, somewhere outside Takigakure. Let's begin the extraction, said a figure atop the right thumb of Geto Mazo. The Kyuubi and Nibi are moving away from the ruins of Takigakure, informed Zetsu. Ruins, eh? Questioned Kisame. Deidara blew up the village, replied Zetsu. That village was rather artistic, my art only enhanced its beauty, yeah, said Deidara proudly. But you took too long and ended up failing in capturing your jinchuriki and nearly killed them, said Sasori, reprimanding his partner. The Kyuubi can wait. After this, I'll look into reconfiguring the statue so that we can focus on the other jinchuriki first. No matter what, the Kyuubi has to be sealed last, said Pain. That Kyuubi kid is starting to become a troublesome target, said Kisame as more of a statement than a question. We will need the Nibi before him. With 7 of us, it'll take almost 5 days to finish extracting the nanobi. Itachi, Kisame, I want you both to hunt them down. Itachi's genjutsu will be ideal against those two, said Pain. Which way are they heading now? Asked Kisame. They are moving towards the border of Earth Country, replied Zetsu. While Itachi and Kisame are hunting the Nibi, Deidara and Sasori go hunt the Rokubi, ordered Pain. Within the year, we'll have peace. 2 days later. What the, said Jiraiya as he looked up at the blocked-off entrance to Takigakure. They would only block it off in case of an emergency. They've never been invaded in any of the wars because this was the only way in and out of the village, and it was easy to block off like so. But why is it now, he thought. I guess I have no choice but to go ask around in a nearby town, he said to himself as he exited the cave. Next day in a nearby village. What? Yelled Jiraiya after a traveler just said that there's a rumor going around that Takigakure was destroyed and that some people heard and felt a large explosion from its direction. Jiraiya at the moment did not know what to think. How could the entire village be destroyed? It's never been breached by an enemy, let alone an army capable of taking out the entire village, though he's learned one word that can explain literally anything this absurd, and that is Akatsuki. He quickly summoned a frog to carry a message to Tsunade about what he's found out. The trip back to Konoha, as well as the guaranteed beating he would get upon arrival, was something he wanted to avoid. Most importantly, he needed to gather more information on anything related to what happened in order to try to find his long-lost apprentice. 3 more days later. Tsunade's hands were currently trembling as she held onto the scroll she just received from Jiraiya's frog. "What's wrong, Shirsho?" asked Sakura as she watched the uncharacteristic fear present in Tsunade's eyes, which worried her greatly. It's nothing, Sakura, don't worry about it," responded Tsunade. "The entire village destroyed? That must be why the messenger bird we sent returned with the same message. I know grandfather gave the nanabi to Takigakure as a peace offering. That would be 3 jinchuriki in one spot. I'm positive it's Akatsuki, but please don't tell me they got you Naruto." 2 months later. The last 2 months had been a nerve-wracking hell for both Tsunade and Jiraiya. 2 months without any news or anything about Naruto. It was almost as if he completely vanished. Not even the frogs in Myobokuzan knew of where he could be. However, somewhere in the woods of Earth Country, both Naruto and Yugito could be found walking in the direction of Iwagakure, which was still a day away from their current position. "You know, I really don't feel too safe about going to IWA. Your old village may have been allied with them, but they hate mine," said Naruto as they continued walking. "Don't be such a chicken, you were enemies with Kumo, but you and Jiraiya were able to waltz around the village," replied Yugito, rolling her eyes. "But that's just it, I was with Arasenin. He has a reputation, you know, nobody wanted to mess with him. We are just 2 random ninja from an unfriendly village now." "Oh, is the big bad fox afraid of a little village, without his perverted guardian?" teased Yugito, playfully. Yugito whined Naruto as they continued playfully bickering with each other. But as they continued walking, they were spotted by a pair of wide eyes belonging to a rock ninja, that blonde kid. See, could he be related to, thought the man. He was a well-seasoned veteran of the previous wars, one of the few to survive a confrontation with the Yellow Flash. After the war, the Rock kept some close tabs on the man and had come across some rumors that he had a girlfriend who was pregnant. Anything further seemed to become a well-guarded secret after the Yellow Flash's death. But this boy in front of him, bright blonde hair, blue eyes, the right age, from Konoha. It was too much of a coincidence for the Rock Ninja to accept. "Kit, there's another host near you," informed Kyubi, interrupting the 2 jinchurikis arguing. During the 2 months of training Naruto and Yugito went through, she taught him how to better work in sync with Kyubi since she was pretty good herself with Nibi. "Yugito?" Naruto asked, questioningly, looking at her to confirm whether or not she got the same message as he did. She nodded in return as they both stopped walking. Naruto turned around and shouted, "Come out. We know you're there." Slowly an older man came out from behind a tree. He had fiery red hair held in a high ponytail and an oddly shaped brown IWA forehead protector. "You kids are pretty good to have noticed me, or was it because of the beasts inside, I wonder," said the man. So the boy has the Kyubi, the Yellow Flash was the one to defeat that thing. Without a doubt he had truly sealed it inside his own son. "Other than being another host, what do you want?" questioned Yugito. She was all for making friends, especially with others who possessed the same burden, but this man had a very unpleasant aura around him. He slowly raised his hand and pointed his finger towards Naruto. "I want his head," he said, confusing the 2 in front of him. "Why me? I don't even know who you are," replied Naruto, trying to think of why this man would want him dead. "Revenge," he said angrily, "revenge for my 2 brothers and my father who were slain by your father during the last great war," he finished. "My father? I don't even know who my father is," responded Naruto. This man had to be crazy, how could he of all people know who his father was? The man studied the boy's face and realized he truly didn't know who his father was. He smirked. He would get to drop the bomb on the kid and kill him as well. He couldn't get more lucky than this. "I find it amusing you don't know. However, I'll humor you with that information before I kill you," he said mockingly, causing Naruto to frown. "Your father was Konoha's Yellow Flash, your 4th Hokage." Naruto's glare instantly disappeared at that. How could that be true? "You lie, I would have been told if it were true," claimed Naruto. The IWA ninjas smirked. Grew. "Oh? You never found it strange how you have the same hair color, same eye color, you're the splitting image of the man aside from those whisker marks. Not only that, as Hokage, who else would he have chosen to seal the Kyubi into? Certainly not another family's child, no." Naruto's world was starting to turn upside down. How can that be possible? If he was my father, wouldn't anybody have told me? If he was, wouldn't I have been taken care of better when I was younger? It just couldn't be true. But Naruto knew that it answered everything. Why he did look so much like the 4th and why he would have been chosen as the container like this man said. Also, it would explain why he never knew his father if he indeed died sealing Kyubi into him. Also the reason why Erosenin trained him and taught him the fourth jutsu. Surely there were others who would have been better candidates than he was. Naruto then dropped to his knees, he was just too confused right now. His father had to be the fourth, but that meant his own father had cursed him, but he also knew that it was his duty as Hokage as well, so he couldn't hate him for that. Yugito kneeled next to Naruto holding him, poor Naruto, to find something like that out, especially from this man no less. You have no idea how much I'm enjoying this, watching the child of the man who killed my family breaking, said the man chuckling. Now time for the best part, I, Rashi, shall avenge my family and kill you, Namikaze. He left the question hanging. Naruto's eyes refocused and glared at Rashi. Naruto. Namikaze Naruto. Darn, and here, I was hoping you would deny it, he shouted as he flew through some hand seals. Time to die. However, before he could finish his jutsu, a large tidal wave broke through the area out of nowhere, surprising the three jinchuriki. Can't let that happen now, can we? Shouted a voice as a man appeared on the crest of the wave right as it reached the trio as the newcomer slammed his enormous sword into the stomach of Rashi, sending him flying deeper into the woods. Recovering from his shock, Naruto instantly recognized who just arrived from a past encounter. Kisame. Just then another person jumped out of a tree onto the now flooded surface of the forest. It's been a long time, Naruto-kun greeted Itachi. Uchiha Itachi, growled out Naruto. Yugito recognized the name from when Naruto had explained to her about the few Akatsuki members that he was familiar with. Itachi-san, I'll let you handle these two while I go after the Yonbi, said Kisame as he took off in the direction he had launched Rashi in. It appears you're taking the news of your heritage quite well, said Itachi emotionlessly. He had already casted his genjutsu on the two. Your illusions won't work this time, Itachi, shouted Naruto from Itachi's side as he prepared to hit him with a Rasengan. But as soon as it made contact, Itachi burst into water. Mizu Bunshin, thought Naruto as he looked around for the real one. Itachi was a bit taken back by that little skirmish. How did he get out of the illusion? Surely his genjutsu skills haven't improved much or at all since last time. His thoughts were cut short when three Yugitos leapt towards him with kunai. He quickly jumped off the branch he was hiding on and in a flash used Kitten, Gokaku no Jutsu, destroying the Kage Bunshins with the flame. He then landed back on the water down below. They seemed to have good teamwork too, he thought as the two appeared in front of him. No matter how much either of you improve, only someone with the same eyes as mine can defeat me, stated Itachi, still looking at them without any emotion. He then closed his eyes and reopened them, instantly catching Naruto and Tsukuyomi. Naruto looked around and realized he was chained to a cross. He then noticed Itachi was right below him. I don't know how you got out of my last illusion, but this one nobody can escape from, said Itachi. Naruto's eyes widened, Kyubi, quick. Stop my chakra flow. Instantly Naruto found himself back in the real world with a very shocked Itachi in front of him. How, he muttered, glaring at the two jinchuriki. Naruto smirked, like I said before, your illusions won't work this time, Itachi. Yugito did a few hand seals and shouted Raitun. Ikazuchi Hakai, as she slammed her hands onto the ground, causing a large triangular-shaped lightning bolt to rip through the ground heading towards Itachi. Itachi quickly jumped into the air to avoid the Raitun jutsu and focused his eyes on Naruto. Naruto, seeing this, immediately slammed his hands together. Futon, Kaze Heki, fierce wind started to spin around Naruto like a tornado as the wind transformed into the black flames of Amaterasu. The winds died down as the area around Naruto burned with the black flames. He blocked Amaterasu with a Futon jutsu, thought Itachi, shocked once again by the jinchuriki. I see, by creating a tornado around him he didn't block Amaterasu but instead used the winds to pull Amaterasu safely around him without getting touched, he realized as he landed. Raitun, Shirchu Shirbari, shouted Yugito as four pillars surrounded Itachi as soon as he landed. Before Itachi could react, the four pillars shot bolts of lightning at him, binding him in place. Itachi then realized that in this situation, this jutsu prevented him from moving at all, he was trapped. You understand what'll happen if you kill me, right, Naruto? Said Itachi as he stared at the boy. I do, replied Naruto quietly. He fully understood the consequences of killing Itachi. Then are you really going to do it? Asked Itachi, hoping that he could get a rise out of Naruto for him to slip. If we let you live, nothing changes. If I were to kill you now, we'll still have to watch our backs, he replied as he created a futon, Kaze no Yaiba, a sword made of wind on his right hand. His eyes will surpass mine, between him and the rest of Akatsuki. Are you sure you want this? Asked Itachi again. Naruto stepped up to the lightning prison. Like I said, he thrusted the Kaze no Yaiba into Itachi's chest. It changes nothing, he muttered as the life in Itachi faded away. The prison retracting back into the ground as Itachi's lifeless body fell. Yugito stepped up next to Naruto. What were you both talking about? Questioned Yugito, not wanting to be out of the loop. Itachi's younger brother Sasuke, he muttered. Sasuke's goal in life was to get revenge and kill Itachi. Now that Itachi's dead, he'll most likely target myself now for taking that away from him. I see, said Yugito, now understanding more of why Naruto is always so against revenge. So what you meant by it doesn't change anything was that if you let Itachi live, he would only come after you again for Kyuubi, but if he died then instead of him, Sasuke would come after you, she said. Exactly, no matter what I did, one of them would constantly be around to torment us, he replied. He didn't want to make an enemy out of Sasuke, but he would have been risking too much by letting Itachi live. Yugito looked down at the fallen Uchiha. This is a dangerous corpse. What should we do? I'll seal the corpse up and send it back to Konoha, he said as he got a small jar out of his pack of supplies and kneeled down to Itachi. What are you doing? Asked Yugito puzzled. I'm going to remove his eyes. As you said, this is a dangerous corpse mainly because of his eyes. If the corpse was somehow intercepted or stolen, these eyes could be very dangerous in the wrong hands, he replied. He knew briefly from Jiraiya about Danzo and the root division. He knew there would be a good chance that the man would try to get his hands on them. He plucked out Itachi's eyes and placed them in the jar. He went through Itachi's equipment and found a note of what seemed to be some type of contacts. He placed it in his pocket as he then proceeded to seal the corpse in a scroll. Kuchios no Jutsu, he shouted as a small messenger frog appeared. He quickly wrote a quick note to Tsunade and strapped both the note and scroll to the frog as it leaped away. Kuchios no Jutsu, he shouted again as this time appeared Gamakichi. Yo bro. Everyone's been looking for ya, greeted the large frog. Hey Gamakichi, I had some stuff I needed to do. I need you to contact Erosenin and tell him to meet me at the village Jabori in Tea Country a week from now. Also tell them that Itachi is dead and that I sent the corpse to Tsunade, explained Naruto. Gotcha, replied Gamakichi with his thumb up as he poofed away. Tea Country? Why there? Asked Yugito. The note I found on Itachi had a list of contacts. I don't know why he would keep them written down like that, but it may give us information on Akatsuki. Erosenin is pretty skilled at this type of stuff, so I just needed to pick a spot I'm familiar with, replied Naruto. We better get moving. Kisame seems to still be fighting that IWA Jinchuriki, and I don't really want to run into either of them again right now, he said as they took off away from the area. Naruto, this isn't exactly the direction of the Tea Country, said Yugito, noticing that their path was a bit off. After finding out that my father is a bigger enemy to the rock than Konoha itself, I'd rather get out of this entire country as soon as I can, he replied, scratching the back of his head. Well, I guess I can't call you a chicken for it anymore since you actually have a valid excuse now, huh? Joked Yugito. I had a valid excuse before too. She rolled her eyes at him, she actually enjoyed their lame arguments. So what do you plan to do now with Itachi's eyes? I'm not sure. This was all for now. Thank you for watching, I hope you liked it and that you will be back for more. Please like, share and subscribe. See ya.